Good evening, Titans. This is Mr. Sturts. We're on lesson 5.2, which is solving systems of linear equations by substitution. Open up your student journals to page 139. Write these two vocab words down. We have system of linear equations, which, like last section, is a set of two or more equations with the same variables, x and y. A solution to this system is just an ordered pair that when you plug it in, like last section, it checks out. It works. It equals each other. All right, so pause the video, write these two down. No different than last section, except today we're using substitution instead of graphing. All right, we have 3 steps for solving by substitution. The first step, we have to solve one of the equations for one of the variables. That means isolate one of the variables, get one of them by themselves. So it's either y or x. Sometimes it's already done for you. Sometimes we need to solve for one. Once we get step 1, once we get a variable by itself, substitute it in for the other equation. So let's say we had y by itself. We're going to substitute that value that y is equal to in for y in the other equation. Solve, we're going to get the value for x. Once we have the other value, we're going to go on to step 3. We're going to substitute that value back into one of the two equations. It doesn't matter which equation. Usually we're going to use the more simple equation, and then we're going to solve for the other variable. In the end, we're going to get an ordered pair. We're going to get an x and a y. That's going to be our solution. Okay, it sounds confusing. We'll clarify it here in the next couple slides. Should make pretty good sense here. All right, let's start with equation 1 and 2 here. We need to isolate one of the variables. Look at equation 1. Y is already by itself. So we can go ahead and get started. Let's substitute our value of y into equation 2 for the variable y. So if we rewrite equation 2, 6x minus 5 times a negative 2x minus 9, and that's all equal to a negative 19. Okay, now we got to get x by itself. We need to distribute. So let's go ahead and distribute 6x plus 10x because it's a negative and a negative. Another negative and a negative plus 45 is equal to a negative 19. All right, combine like terms. 16x plus 45 is equal to a negative 19. Let's move the 45. Do the opposite. Subtract it. 16x is equal to a negative 64. Divide by 16. Do the opposite again. We're multiplying, so we need to divide. X is going to be a negative 4. That's our x value. Okay, now we need to find a y value. So step 3 says to plug that x value into one of the two equations. It does not matter which equation. We usually try to pick the more simple equation. Looking up here, I would say equation 1 is a little simpler. So let's go ahead and solve for y now. Plug x into that first equation. Negative 2 times our x value, which is a negative 4. Minus 9. Order of operations. Multiplication first, so negative and a negative is a positive 8 minus 9. So y is equal to a negative 1. We have our x coordinate, we have our y coordinate. Let's write it as an ordered pair. That is our solution to that system of linear equations. If we were to plug in for x and y, they would check out. They would equal each other. All right, we have 3 equations here. Let's do number 1 together. Let's go ahead and substitute in. Let's go ahead and substitute equation 2 into 1. So let's go and plug that negative 4x in for y. So what we have is y is equal to negative 4x. So negative 4x equals 3x plus 14. We're plugging that in right here for y. Let's get the x's to the same side. So subtract our 3x. We have a negative 7x equals 14. Divide by a negative 7. Divide by a negative 7. X is negative 2. Okay, we have our x value. We need our y value. Substitute this in for the more simple equation. I would say it's the second one. So let's substitute in there. So now y is equal to a negative 4 times a negative 2. So y is equal to a positive 8. All right, then we have an ordered pair. X is first, y is second, negative 2, 8. If we were to substitute them in, they would check out, and they work. That's our solution. Okay, so go ahead and try 2 and 3 on your own. See if you can get the answers there.